We should move them around.
You're good.
I call this meeting to order. Confirmation of the agenda that the Committee of Adjustment hereby accept the agenda for February 18th, 2020 hearing as presented. Do I have a mover? I have Anita. I have Rick seconding. All in favor? Carries. Declaration of any pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we will move on. Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. The Committee of the Adjustment of the Township of North Huron hereby adopts the minutes of the Committee of Adjustment hearing held November 18th, 2019 as presented. Do I have a mover? I have Paul. Do I have a seconder? I have Chris. All in favor? Carries. Statement of precedent. That any decision reached by this committee cannot be used to set a precedent. 6. Scheduled applications. 6.1 file number MV07-2019. Location 766 Queen Street, Blythe Ward. Application owner Doug Campbell, Diamond Concrete Inc. Monica is up next with 6.1.1 presentation from the Huron County Planter. Monica, planner. Not planter.
I also try to be a planter every once. Get those trees planted. Okay. Oops. Okay. This is an application for minor variance. The applicants are requesting a relief of 3 meters from the exterior side yard, which is the north property line, and they're also seeking a 3 meter reduction in the interior side yard setback from the south property line. And as the mayor mentioned, the location of this property is 766 Queen Street.
I try to be a mayor once in a while, but I'm a reed.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I try to be a planter. The zoning on this property is highway commercial, and it's designated highway commercial in the Township of North Huron official plan. The applicant is proposing to construct 2 self-storage buildings, and the required side yard setback from the north property line is 7.5 meters in the zoning bylaw. And the requirement from the south property line is 7.5 meters. The reason for the north property line having a setback of 7.5 meters is, I'll show you on this slide here, there is an unopened road allowance to the north. And so when you're adjacent to a road or an unopened road allowance, then the required setback is 7.5 meters. If this were not a road allowance, the setback would be reduced. But because of the unopened road allowance there, it's 7.5 meters. The minimum interior side yard setback adjacent to residential is also 7.5 meters. So the applicant is asking to reduce these setbacks from the 7.5 down to approximately 4.5 meters on either side. So that's a reduction of 3 meters on both the north and the south sides. This is just a shot that I took when I visited the property. So the application has been reviewed by Planning and Development to see if it satisfies the 4 tests of a minor variance. The 4 tests are: does it meet the intent of the North Huron official plan? Does it meet the intent of the Township of North Huron zoning bylaw? And is it desirable for the appropriate development of the lands in question? And finally, is it minor in nature? So in reviewing this application, we considered the potential impacts on the road allowance to the north and to the residential to the south. This application was circulated to all neighboring property owners within 60 meters of the subject property. No comments were received back. In reviewing this, we considered whether there might be any noise impacts or visual impacts to the neighbors. Some of the things that may help with this is the applicant is proposing to do a planting strip of natural trees along the south property line to block the view, and trees are always a little bit of a buffer for noise as well. So there'll be a planting strip along the south property line and also along the rear property line, because both of those parts of the property abut residential. So in reviewing the 4 tests and in consideration of the fact that we didn't receive any concerns from neighbors. This application is recommended for approval with the recommended conditions. The recommended conditions are that the application be approved according to an approved site plan. So a site plan application will be coming along for council's consideration from the applicant following this application. And also that the variance is the variance approval is valid for a period of 18 months from the date of the committee's decision. So 1.5 years to construct the buildings. So those would be my comments with regards to this application, recommending in favor of the 2 variances. And I'm available if council has any questions.
Thank you, Monica. Next, we'll go to the application 6.1.2, opportunity to comment on application by the applicant or their agent. Would you folks like to say anything?
I think Monica said it all.
Good to go? All right. Right now then it's opportunity 6.1.3, opportunity for anybody else in the audience to speak up. Not hearing any. 6.1.4, opportunity for question, comments by committee of adjustment members. Councilors, has anybody got a question? Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, just wondering, is there enough space, through you, Reeve, is there enough space, Monica, for vehicle traffic, say, to pull a little trailer to get back to the back units around the sides?
So those are the flow of vehicular traffic would be something that would need to be addressed on the site plan that is coming in a separate application. So generally speaking, the 4.5 meters definitely is wide enough for a vehicle to travel between the side of the building and the planting strip. But those are the types of considerations that the applicant is going to have to think about when they're designing the exact placement of their buildings. But with this minor variance, if it's approved tonight, what it gives them is some wiggle room on both sides to finalize the placement of their buildings when they show that on the site plan. So some of the considerations are the flow of the vehicles that are going to be accessing the storage units, where the vehicles will stop to load and unload when they approach their unit. And so the applicant's going to want to think about those things when they put their final site plan design together.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Through your 2 questions. When you said that the owner was notified and no comments brought back, is that the developer that was asked or the residents that actually live there?
So when a notice of public meeting is sent to the owner of, like, say, the fourplexes that are in the new residence, then it's sent to the owner, and there's a request on the circulation that those be shared by any tenants. So it is sent to the owner of the property. We don't have contact information for tenants. And then it's the onus is on the property owner to share that with their tenants. So I don't know how effective that method is of getting the notice to tenants, but that's the onus sort of lies with the owner to follow up with that.
The 7.5 setback was set to be compliant to alleviate distances between properties. I just want the council to be known that the backyards of the properties that are right beside where this is going to go are only have a 12-foot backyard with a 6-7 foot porch or pad at the back. So it's within 6 feet that this structure is going to go, and the partition wall to block sound and such is also going to block light, is also going to block view. I'm just surprised that in none of this discussion here was that there's only 12 feet behind this building that we just approved on a site plan for people to live in, and now we're going to block it. I think the 7.5 was there to be for these reasons. That's all it is.
Monica, did you want to answer that? Or?
It's hard for me to. I made my recommendation of approval, and those are the issues that Councillor Falconer's raising are issues that were taken into consideration. Definitely visual impact and noise were things that were taken into consideration and spoken to in our department's report. In terms of the look of it, the planting strip is going to help with that a little bit. Also, the orientation of the building that the applicant has provided in their preliminary drawings is that it would be the side of the building facing the residential. So in terms of the car that's loading or unloading, that's going to be not on that side that's facing, but there will be the sound of vehicles approaching and unloading. There will be the sound of the roll-up doors, and we're talking a reduction of 3 meters. So in any of these variances, like a minor variance, you have to consider like how far of a relief from that provision is reasonable, and at what point does that tip over to being not reasonable anymore. So in our review, we concluded that the impact of making that 3 meter reduction would be minor.
Just for Trevor's information, Trevor, we're on 6.1.4. You timed it pretty good. I know you did your homework because I know you, so if you have questions or concerns.
Yeah, no, the only comment that I have is that, you know, and it follows, I guess, the conversation about Councillor Faulkner and this question about how the tenants find out.
Mm-hmm.
The tenants find out the same as any other public in with this public meeting, as well as being an informed resident of the municipality that they could voice their concerns. I haven't heard anything from outside of the council chambers by email or via phone call or anything from any tenants in Blythe with regards to this development. So, you know, unless there is a significant issue, I'm not hearing of one at this point. So,
Thank you.
I guess I didn't mention that a sign gets posted on the property too. So for people living in the area, the sign is posted for at least 20 days. So that would, 10 days in the case of a minor variance, pardon me. But that would be hard to miss, that there's a sign posted there, and most people would be curious enough to check it out.
Go ahead, Chris.
I guess it'd be fair to say that there could be a fourplex behind them, which would be 12 feet away as well. And like you're just dealing with a building and a building. I understand what you're saying though, Kevin. They are shortening it up by what, 10? You said 3 meters, 10 feet. Yeah, there could be another building, fourplex back there. You'd have to consider that and be the same mirror image of what they got.
Rick?
They're not sharpening up on the back.
No, but it's still 12 feet away.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's 7.5 meters in the back.
Well, it'd be the same as, I would just say it would be the same as what's there now. You were saying 12 feet to the property line.
That's 12 feet of the existing residential.
Yeah, and their backyard is 12 feet away.
To the back of the property.
Yeah, there could be a fourplex behind and it's doing the same thing, 12 feet away. It
Wouldn't
could-
be allowed.
No, I'm just saying, could be. I'm not saying it would be, I'm just saying they could be facing the same thing. There's lots of other locations around where you've got a fourplex and a fourplex, back to back.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Go ahead, Kevin.
It's just a matter of who was there first. If this construction was there first, then it would be the residential development that would have to change their layout because of an existing property. That's what I'm getting at. They wouldn't have been able to.
It's just a different scenario, that's all.
Okay,
I'm good.
everything good? Any other questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, Monica, 6.1.5, would you like to make a recommendation on behalf of the planning department?
Okay, our department's recommendation is that the applications for minor variance be approved. If council were to follow our department's recommendation, then I would be prepared to give you a recommendation on your motion about the effect of public comments.
Yep. So So I'm gonna go with Monica's recommendation to start with, that the, number 7, that the Committee of the Adjustment hereby approve minor variance application MV 07-2019 as it applies to 766 Queen Street, Blythe Ward, North Huron. Applicant owners Doug Campbell, Diamond Concrete Inc., with the conditions set out in the report presented by Monica Walker Bolton at the February 18th, 2020 Committee of Adjustment meeting. Do I have a mover? I have Rick. Do I have a seconder? Paul, last chance for questions or comments. Seeing none, I call the vote. All in favor? Carries.
So my recommendation in terms of the effective public comments is an easy one. Item 2 in the chart up here, no comments received. No public comments were received on this application, so there was no effect on the decision. And B, no agency comments were received on this application, so there was no effect on the decision.
Could I have somebody move that?
I'll move those.
Trevor, seconded by Anita. All in favor? Carries. Thank you very much. Number 8, reminder of the appeal period. Minor variance procedure following public meeting. The Secretary Treasurer sends within 10 days of certified copy of the decision indicating the last day of the appealing to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, LPAT 2, the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing if requested. Each person who appeared in person or by counsel at the hearing and who filed with the Secretary Treasurer a written request for notice of the decision. If no appeal is lodged after the 20-day objection period has expired and no appeal has been lodged, the decision of the Committee of Adjustment is final and binding. The Secretary Treasurer shall notify the applicant. If a notice of appeal is lodged within 20 days of the Committee of Adjustment making the decision, an appeal is lodged with the Secretary Treasurer outlining the reasons for such an appeal, and said appeal is accompanied with the required fee of $300, the Committee of Adjustment no longer retains jurisdiction over the application. If a proper appeal is lodged and the Secretary Treasurer is required to provide proper notice to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal. Adjournment, that there be no further business before the Committee of Adjustment. The public hearing is hereby adjourned at 6:46. 5:46. 5:46. My apologies. Do I have a mover? I have Chris. Do I have a seconder? Rick. All in favor? Carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
You too.
You too.